Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Another episode of...
Oh, no. I muted my phone before I had media playing.
Gosh.
Come on. Don't act like these are normal circumstances.
Did you see how my phone didn't do that? Welcome to another episode of Hijinks Handlebars. In this episode, we will not be doing an actual play Kids on Bikes live stream, but usually we do. So... if this is your first time joining us, this is a weird one, everyone.
We're just hanging out.
We're hanging out.
Perfect
Hanging
one.
out. We're hanging out. We're gonna take questions and that kind of thing. We're just gonna chat here. Just to get a couple things out of the way. Hijinks and Handlebars. Like I said, it's an actual play Kids on Bikes tabletop live stream. It happens generally every Tuesday night at 7:30 Pacific. And it's in a continuous campaign. We are in probably our third season, sort of, right now at the moment. We are just about to hit a 50 episode mark. So we have that much of a backlog. You can find all of the previous episodes of the show on the QueueTimes main YouTube channel in a playlist called Hijinks Handlebars. You can also find that playlist by typing in bit.ly/handlestream, capital H, capital S. And everyone's kind of quarantined right now, so it's a good time to catch up on the show or like start watching it or whatever. My suggestion is to start at episode 1, but you can start with us like now or go back to episode 44. I believe
it was 44. Yeah,
it was kind of like a soft reboot. You'll probably still be a little confused about certain things that come up a few episodes later, but for the most part, I mean. You grab that information and you just start watching. And then if you feel compelled to go back and watch earlier stuff, go ahead and go do that. I think that's a good way to do things, personally. But, so today we're just chatting because things are pretty stripped down. We can't really all be in the same place.
None of us.
Usually, we can do introductions and I can introduce like people who aren't here, but I'm William, they, them, and I am generally the GM for Hijinks and Handlebars.
I am Jonas, they, them, and I usually play Derry Nazari, he, him, on Hijinks and Handlebars.
I'm Chris, he, him, and generally I play Shane Nakazawa on Hijinks and Handlebars. But today, different.
We're just hanging out. Today we're just hanging out. I just realized, I've said that so many times, that's the thing that we said to kind of end the last season of Hijinks, before like the soft reboot, was, what are we doing? We're just hanging out. And I think I, in fact, said that, which is why it sounded familiar just now. Remember when like all the memories went away and we were sitting at the wall and I was like, what are we doing? And I said, I think we're just hanging out, which I was not even intentional. I guess it's just the space, I see the border of the overlay, and I think in the show.
Yeah, like that's not a character. That's my name. That's my actual name.
William wanted to talk about people who aren't here, but usually are.
Yeah. So, and then on top of us, we usually have Sam Richardson on the show playing Tedward Tank Thompson, both he, him, and then we also have Franny. Who plays Gertie Fox, both she, her. I forget how many planes go by us.
Yeah, well, we're very near the airport, so
we're very near airport. It's better than our old apartment, which was very near 2 airports.
Mm-hmm. And higher up, which is closer to the planes on a lateral level.
So I suppose...
Is that right? No, that's longitude, isn't it?
I don't know if this is true. Maybe you have a better representation of the amount of people that are watching, but if you literally, your questions don't have to be about the show.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get some rats in the chat right now.
Yeah, can I get some rats in the chat?
If you have any questions for myself, I mean, it can be about the show. I'll gladly answer questions
Absolutely.
about the show.
And I think we should talk about the show a little bit. Like, I'm curious to kind of debrief some with Chris, but... if you are here and have literally any questions for us about things we do or things that just happen, toss them at us in the chat.
Yeah, we're 3 adults who make art as well as play tabletop games. So if you have questions about any of those things, I recommend you talk to us because
Rocket Bobsled says rat.
Hey,
Space Terrier. Space Terrier says rats in the chat.
Space Terrier. We know you. Rats in the chat.
Yeah.
Rats in the chat.
Yeah, so like I said, now that we've got another plane going overhead.
Can you hear that, Chris, on your end, the planes?
Luckily, no.
Okay, then that means they probably can't. So, yeah, which is good because the plane's not very close to our microphone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just ignore it from here on out. You can talk to us about anything if you have any questions. It can be about Glass Beach. It can be about Tani Meito and all of the stuff that Chris does. It can be about the Playgrounders, which is the stuff that Chris and I do together music-wise, which is still basically just like Tani Meito, honestly, at this point.
It's on the Tani Meito channel, right?
Yeah, but it's on the Playground or Spotify. So
I gotta update that.
World is coming to something.
Yeah.
But what is it? You can ask us about Court of Corvids, the Pathfinder stream William and I do. You can ask us about my dog Markle. Ask any of us a round of questions about that.
Ask us about how you're doing. We'll just chime in.
Yeah. I mean, if you, I'm honestly, maybe I should just speak for myself with this. I'm comfortable if you have a question that's really more of a statement. Honestly.
And we have Space Terrier. How is Markle? Is she there? Yes.
Oh, is she?
Oh, my heart.
She's right here. She was comfortable. Yeah, I will say, since you asked, thank you, Space Terrier. Markle, getting to spend so much more concentrated time with Markle has been like the most like wholly good thing to come from this quarantine situation. It's just like vegging out with my dog. Get back up here. Yeah, that has been nice.
Oh man. One thing I'm excited about though is like
sorry.
Uh-oh.
And I posted in the Glass Beach Discord, I forgot to tell them where to go.
Send them. I'm excited to see what all my artist friends are up to because I think we're all going to be like going through this like solidarity of quarantine or whatever.
Yeah, I saw it. I love the internet because they have all of the takes that I need to know and like hear before I like finish processing myself. Because like there was that stuff going around with like, oh, Shakespeare wrote King Lear during the plague and like that kind of stuff. And like, now's your chance, like write that story, write that song, do that thing. And then I just yesterday I saw somebody on Twitter who was like, I've been seeing a lot of people say like this is going to be like an increase in productivity and everything, but it's like it's okay to be like freaked out and like not enjoying your time and not like utilizing like productivity during this like pandemic. If you just like chill around and take care of yourself, that is also good. That's a good use of your time and like that kind of thing. And because I think it's like so much pressure also. Because a lot of artists are like, oh, now I finally have all that time that I needed to like do this thing. I mean, because like me personally, I've been spending more time writing music, and I'm still having a hard time writing lyrics, and this hasn't changed anything. Like that's still difficult for me right now, and that's been like frustrating. Because I'm like, oh, I have all this time, and I keep like picking up the guitar. Like the other day, I played the guitar so much, like my wrists hurt, which has never happened to me before. Yeah, even the next day, I tried to pick the guitar back up, and I was like, my wrists were still like wonky, which I know is just like I did too much and probably had like improper like ways of actually playing the guitar. So I'm trying to be more careful of that. I think most of it was I would like lay on the couch and I would get really lazy and like bend my arms like a T-Rex or whatever to just like to just be like playing the guitar. And I think that puts like undue stress on your wrists and everything. And then I wasn't taking time to like stretch like things out and everything. I know everyone in animation is basically fully work from home now. Yeah. Yo, Space Terrier super didn't know what WFH meant for like for like days, and I was like, "What are people saying? It was just so common for me to just like not know what an acronym is.
When I was in the time where I didn't know what that meant, it just kept registering to me as what I knew it wasn't, which is a band that we knew in college that had that same acronym. It was that thing where it's like I kept immediately translating it to something that was easy for me to think quickly, but was not correct.
Mm-hmm. Don't say it could also mean work for hire. Just say it's work.
Which is work from home. In quarantine, he wrote all of Good Burger 1997.
It's the year that killed me. You were on it.
Is that accurate? Was it Good Burger 97?
I don't know.
Was I 3? That can't be.
I don't know.
Who knows? I guess I just didn't think they were that much older than me, Keenan and Kel. They couldn't be. Well, actually, they were teens when I was but a little lad. So
isn't Keenan like 40 now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't Keenan like
40? Suppose
40?
that tracks.
Is the stream
okay? My brother says Space Terrier. Mine.
Glass Beach Twitch.
This is sorta. This is half Glass Beach on Twitch. There is going to be a Glass Beach Twitch that is not this, but
Glass Beach has a Twitch, and we'll be using it for actual like Glass Beach related things
starting next month.
Well, I mean, maybe starting this month.
Yeah, starting by next month.
At least by next month. up to $500.
Oh man, what are those perks for Glass Beach? I'm super curious.
Did you see the tweet today from Glass Beach about the Patreon?
I skimmed it.
Okay, I know.
Unleash your wrath.
I know it was very long. Yeah. I know. Chris is Glass Beach friend. It's true. Also, you can ask us questions about Glass Beach. For people coming in, generally, this is a tabletop role-playing live stream that
we are on QueueTimes.
That IG. I'm so glad you cut me out to say that.
Well, they have to know.
They're on QueueTimes. They know. So this is a tabletop live stream that I do that I GM. It's using the Kids on Bikes system, which is akin to like Stranger Things or It or Stand By Me. It's that kind of thing. Just teens and kids in small towns having mysteries and adventures and that kind of thing. But it's a continuous campaign. So we've been going for about 48, 49 episodes ish so far. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. We have a, would it be my left hand? Yeah, it's like up that way. There's a link. bit.ly/handle stream, capital H, capital S. But yeah, anyway, it's cool. It was a lot of text. It was a lot of text. I know. I just wanted to get a very specific thing across. I know like people don't like to read on Twitter. I get it. But it was very important to me that I got everything out that I wanted to say. Because like I think Patreon is important. I think that artists use Patreon in a way that really works. It's like a decent system. Sometimes people start drowning in their own Patreon where they promise so many perks and so many like specific perks that are either financially difficult to fulfill or actually take up so much time they can't focus on the work that they have now. There's a way to do Patreon that is very successful where you are giving people perks and like that kind of thing, and it's like its own entity. It's its own piece of the art and everything, and that's good. But oftentimes that's behind a paywall, and that's what the perks are for. It's to incentivize people to show up and donate money. But for me, I really just don't like the idea of putting anything that we do behind a paywall. Even if that means like we're not going to get as many donations or anything like that. I don't fault anybody for doing it either. It's like completely makes sense. I think most people would want their stuff to be free or at least like really low cost, accessible for the most part. But like we have to make money, otherwise we like die because our system is flawed. So And I also didn't want it to just be like a tip jar kind of thing, which is also very valid. It's a valid way of having a Patreon. I don't think that's a problem.
We wanted to connect it to other stuff that we wanted to do anyway, and like inevitably we're going to. I think one important angle for this is like it is going to help us do this sooner and more often than we might be able to do it. Like we'll be able to do it more often sooner. Like it's just going to enable us to do what we want.
Yeah, under the gazebo, Patreon can be really cool for artists, but at one point, some just make stuff for it and forget about their fans that don't pay anything. And I think because I mean, like,
which is fair.
Yeah, especially if you like actually start seeing money come in from it, and you have like really reliable people like that are sources of income for you in your fan base. I think it would be easy to be like, well. If I just keep doing this for a while,
they're the ones we need to keep happy because they're the ones that are paying us. But like, I think that is a good point, and this is also partially to help prevent us from becoming.
I think that people should know. Like, I don't know if William talked about this in the tweet because I just skimmed over it, but Glass Beach has had a lot of success, and I think it is continuing to reach a lot more people. But the monetary gain that everybody on working with Glass Beach has gone straight back into the project. So I really want you guys to like have the ability to make this like something that pays rent for you guys. So.
We're way off from that point, but I agree. Yeah, I mean, like, and also I had mentioned that in the tweet, but again, I know it was very long.
A video at some point that says basically the same stuff. I think when we launch it, we were talking about wanting to do that. So,
the patrons get a voice. The best patrons are the ones who use it as a preview system. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Like patrons get stuff a week in advance. Under the gazebo says definitely Space Terrier. Yeah. Most of the ones I support are like that, and it feels good. Yeah, y'all deserve to make money. Yeah. I don't think it's like that much of I think getting stuff in advance is good.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it feels cool.
I think that's good, and like I know like Folding Ideas and like H Bomber. Lindsay Ellis and like if I think ContraPoints does this as well. Will even release like scripts before videos are out. Under the gazebo, I definitely like to donate to Patreons, but my paychecks aren't big enough for me to spend on them. Yeah, so I mean, like that is like what I mean though, because like there are so many times where I want to support someone so bad, or I want the content that they have on their Patreon so bad that I will like donate to them, even though financially I shouldn't. And I don't want to like push anybody into that kind of situation. I
have a recommendation.
Yeah.
Because everybody's financial situations are different, you should not ever feel guilty about not supporting a Patreon. I just learned they do have like following features. So it might be a cool way to just keep them in mind, is just to follow Glass Beach's Patreon without supporting it. You might find cool stuff.
Word.
Yeah. I mean, like, and you follow us on Twitter and stuff anyway. I mean, we're like, I mean, the model for our Patreon is that the people who have the means to donate get to fund what everybody else gets to see as well. I mean, like it's like you're all of our little executive producers or whatever, and
we could have you know what we want to do? We want to have the Bernie Sanders campaign of Patreons. I think that's what we're looking for.
I am once again coming to you.
Yeah,
we don't have a single patron who pledges over $2 now.
No, here's the thing. I want that, and then also I want every donation. I want the average donation to be $27 as well. That would be great.
Should we talk about Hijinks Handlebars a little bit?
Yeah, we can talk about Hijinks Handlebars.
Chris, what
what's going on in your head being on the show now, having not been on the show? Do you feel like you could be like becoming a regular member of the cast?
I think so, slowly, right? I think the biggest thing that has been on my mind since joining you guys was, what can I offer to kind of what amounts to a well-oiled machine? I've been pretty nervous about that. When I first joined, it wasn't part of the plan that Spencer would leave, so we wanted to round out the cast in an interesting way. And it just so happened that Shay was being included in the story a little bit because of Spencer. Actually, Spencer threw Shay Nakazawa in, so I thought it might just be a fun thing to join in a couple episodes. And it turned out I just was having too much fun. And I wanted to keep doing that with you guys. And I called William and they said, sure.
We were trying to get you since before the show started.
What it was, yeah, you were one of the original cast members I reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, like, at the time, like, time-wise, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, like, having you on as a guest every once in a while was, like, my way of being like, okay, I still get to, like, have you on the show and, like, that kind of thing. And I remember, like, you had a change of, like, job and stuff, which made it, like, a little bit easier. But we were talking about having you back on as a guest. Mm-hmm. And then I sent you a message that was like, or I was like, or I could just add you to the cast. I was kind of joking because I still thought, like, you were probably too busy. And then you sent me back. You were like, I mean, yes, please. Like, I don't know. Can we? Like, I don't know. And it was especially funny because I was, like, having this conversation with you without talking to the rest of the cast. So I was like, oh, I didn't expect us to get here. Hold on, I need to talk to the rest of them.
And of course, we were all excited about it.
Yeah, it's literally that meme. What if you join the cast? Haha, just kidding. Unless.
Yeah, well, I was excited. So I think the dynamic that was interesting to me was you guys as a cast aren't one solid blob. I think by nature of, like, the way William sets up the story and the way your guys' characters just acted, you have your own thing going on separately. And I came into the story from, like, Frankie's branch of the narrative. And so it's been an interesting experience trying to, like, slowly get to know everybody, even though I just knew one character at first.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be like, I'm friends with everybody. Remember me, Shay, everybody's best friend? Like, I can't do that.
Yeah, because you were introed in an episode where Frankie was the only main cast character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, but Frankie was the youngest by by a couple of years.
He was in a different age bracket.
In a different age bracket, in a different school.
Yeah.
So it made it almost impossible to like write you in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say just now, if you saw William and I look at each other, and I held in a laugh really hard. It's because William was looking to the left for a while and just, like, smiling and nodding. And I was so sure. I was like, because there's a mirror there, and I was like, are you just staring at yourself while Chris is talking? I realized, no, they're pretending to look at Chris on the overlay.
Yeah.
And then it was for both reasons.
Yeah, I was pretending like I was actually looking at you while you were talking.
It was only weird probably to me and maybe Chris.
Yeah. Well, I hold on. I appreciate you guys. Oh, fuck.
No,
hold on.
Chris.
Thank you. Jonas and William.
Wait, we could kiss.
Just kidding. Unless.
Yes.
Unless.
No, what happened to your face?
You're not doing it at the same time.
Wait, do you want to meld heads?
Disappear.
Yeah.
Junji Ito shit.
It's probably gonna happen again.
Chris, is there anything other than, of course, the confidential things that we've all signed agreements to not talk about? Anything about like the behind the scenes or what it's like doing the show that you didn't anticipate from having just watched it for so long?
Ooh.
I mean, you guessed it pretty early, I guess. So, like, I don't know if I'm asking you to think back that far, but
yeah. The one thing that I didn't know is how the table layout worked. I know that's something simple, but
I hadn't seen the new.
But yeah, the way people are aligned is QueueTimes has this massive gambling table.
Yeah.
Gaming table.
It's a custom gaming
table. Whoops.
Gaming table.
And William sits at one end with like a secret view of the entire stream, which is interesting. Like,
yeah, that's yeah.
There is this TV that only William can witness unless like we kind of crank our heads that way, and we get separated. The two characters on each view get separated like by the different camera angles. So the cast is kind of like apart from each other the whole time, which I thought would be scary, but it's actually kind of nice because I get to face somebody. And yeah, you thought of everything.
Well, when we initially started the show, we didn't have that table yet. So there was actually this like long table that was in the room, which you know about because you did an episode like it.
Yes.
Where all of the players were facing the GM, and the GM was facing all of the players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did that affect you in an interesting way? How as a GM have these layouts?
That was better for me because it was really easy to look people in the eyes and
all at once.
And do that because like I'm really aware of streaming while I'm doing it. Much like how I'm like aware of like acting on a stage while I'm doing that. I know I fully understand the idea of like a stage whisper or like cheating out or like that kind of a thing. So for streaming, I mean, if people are watching the show, then they want to see our faces. They want to see your eyes and everything. So now that we're all pretty much on the same side of the table, but it's like it's like a trapezoid. Is that like what it is? Yeah. But because of that, when I want to talk directly to, especially the people right next to me, which is generally Jonas or Franny, if I want to talk to them, I have to like look completely like one side to one side. So I make sure I'm not doing that. I kind of just like tilt my head a little bit and I'm glancing at them like with my peripherals for the most part. That's as much as I will like crane my head, except for it's happened a couple times now, but some Nightbot. Wait, hey,
did Space Terrier get deleted? What the heck?
What? Hey Jake, what happened to Space Terrier?
Space Terrier, no.
Symbols got owned. No, I'm still here. What?
Okay, good.
What?
Were you spamming? We don't appreciate your behavior, Space Terrier. You're setting a bad example.
Spammed too many emotes? I mean, I guess I get that. Whatever. I'm mad at your ellipses. Our ellipses. Yeah. There's a limit. I don't know what the limit is. Well, we found it. We just need to retrace our steps at this point.
Whoa!
Pledge, Glass Beach rules. Thank you. Sorry, everyone. It's okay. Don't be sorry.
Yeah.
I appreciate your ellipses.
Hey, just learn from it.
I'm not Nightbot, however. So, and Nightbot rules over this land. But thank you, Clan Wells, for the $2 pledge. Glass Beach does rule. I really like playing Glass Beach. It's a lot of fun. It's really hard. It's hard work. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah,
you were talking about acting on camera as a DM.
There have been a couple times on stream recently where I will purposely not be like completely facing like one of the characters, and I've had them as a like selling out joke, like not a selling, but like a pimping out kind of joke. They'll be like, "Who are you talking to? I'm over here." They'll like do that kind of a thing to me, and I'm just like, I'm trying to cheat toward the camera. I know it doesn't look like I'm talking to you, but I have to do this. But it's very funny. It's a funny joke. I like it. I don't know. It's funny. Yeah, I think like stream breaking jokes are funny. Just like very sparse.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like stream breaking jokes and also like game breaking jokes, like where someone will like in character talk about a mechanic of the game or something like that.
Yeah,
those are fine.
Some of my favorite jokes in the past were kind of stream breaking because it was like addressing. It's almost like addressing a mistake we made where like somebody spoke when they weren't actually there in character. And you like covered for it by making it like a radio broadcast or.
Oh yeah. One of the funniest, most recent ones we have is all those like negative political ads. Those started because someone out of character was like saying, "Oh, like Phoebe Fox is bad," and then I can't remember who it was, if it was me or like one of the players was like, "Can someone shut that TV off?" Which that kind of stuff is pretty funny.
Oh man, yeah, we have fun here. One thing that's been on my mind with these streams, and I talk about it literally all the time after streams now, is how different it is to play a tabletop game versus performing one. And you've been at this for 2 years now, almost, right?
Yeah, I've been tabletop streaming since August of 2018. Jake, help me. With the first time we did the Pathfinder playtest stuff.
I think we started in August.
It was August. I know that. It was 2017. Jake says I have no clue. Hey, hi, Helix. Oh gosh, why is it that color?
Helix Faust. Beautiful name color.
Faust.
Wait, Faust.
Faust.
You want your caffeine?
Oh my goodness gracious.
I know.
Was performing for tabletop a natural extension of your improv and acting skills?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's why we both loved it, probably when we started playing.
Yeah.
And then performing.
It was an outlet that we were missing, I think.
That was a pretty conscious conversation when we were doing it.
Oh, yeah, the seasonal veggies broccoli.
Broccoli rules. Eat your veggies, everyone. Wash your hands.
Eat your veggies, wash your hands.
This is so unorthodox, this stream.
This is a very unorthodox stream. But Helix Faust, I appreciate your heart. I appreciate all of your hearts. I appreciate your heart, Chris. Tony Mato.
Oh, I appreciate your heart. Stop touching your face. This is why I'm getting sick.
We can touch our faces. We've been inside all day. We've been watching. You shouldn't touch your face if you're out like touching other stuff that could be contaminated. But at this point, if like something in our apartment is contaminated, we're done for.
Oh yeah, it was to be. I mean, it's a good performance tip in general, not to touch your face. So thanks.
Yeah, it's funny. This whole situation made me realize how bad I am about wanting to touch my face. Although ears are fine. Hey. I said it to Chris. Oh. Okay.
Because I am touching my face.
I mean, if you're concerned about me touching my face while I'm eating and like literally licking my fingers, I think we have a different problem.
Mostly watch the VODs. Oh, I'm reading. Sorry. I work too much to catch live shows. I think that's totally fine. It's a great thing to like listen to in cars too, or while you're working. Whatever's convenient.
And if you're ever able to watch live, like you are tonight, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I would normally be going to bed an hour ago. Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Also, you just got food from someone you don't know from a place you do not clean. Lol. All right, yeah, we did.
Working from home. Welcome to the club.
I'm not working from home.
Man.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I am, but I'm barely working from home because right before all this happened, I stopped working my day job, and I was looking for other work, and I was having a heck of a time actually finding a job. And then I got something. I'm doing production and like editing a podcast, which is only like at most like 15 hours a week, which is not nearly enough. So I've been struggling like pretty bad financially, and now I'm like,
yeah,
how do I find a job now? Like, I'm not gonna go do a job interview. I'm not gonna go like to a place, like actually go to a place and work somewhere.
And that's if you can find someone willing to hire a person right now and who can afford to do that. So
patreon.com/glassbeach.
I think nobody go to it. I don't know if I made it private or not.
Somebody did donate, right? Was that to the Patreon?
No.
Oh.
I noticed you here.
Oh, that's sweet. Had a friend interviewing at my workplace last week.
QueueTimes also has a tip jar. I don't remember how to get it. Does our Bitly
exclamation point coin,
I think.
So
if you want to support this streaming network where we do tons of tabletop shows and non-tabletop shows from time to time, you can do that. If something in the chat, it'll show up with the thing.
Ooh, hiring
last week. I did. Oh, you donated. Yeah, it was Clan
Thank you, Clan Wolf.
Nice.
But now we have a hiring freeze. What?
As far as I know.
Oh my god.
That's scary.
All individual keyboards.
How does everybody know the acronyms? How does everybody know them?
We're with the times, William. Jesus.
In my case, it's because I was wrong before you were.
Yeah.
Man. I would have assumed that media would have had like a slight boost from this whole pandemic because people would be staying indoors and would need entertainment, but I guess not.
Yeah. Hey, William.
Everyone's just depressed and sleeping. What?
Do you know what this means? Because I do. Spend too much time playing MMOs, less time typing, more time to DPS. Do you understand MMOs and DPS? I know MMOs, you know.
Multiplayer most.
Most.
MMOs. MMOs is online, multiplayer online something.
Okay. So yeah, you got the second and third.
Friend of mine just got a new job, and then the coronavirus hit, and now they are postponing her training. She's basically out of a job. I honestly, I think about that like all day long. But we sure can interview for Jonas and William. What Glass Beach songs do you feel like most have your DNA in them? Oh, that's such a good question.
That's a good question.
Whoa, why did I ask that?
Interesting. I want to say Cold.
I have a theory.
What did you say?
I had a theory that it was Bedroom Community, but Cold Weather is good too.
Bedroom Community, I think, has a lot of my energy in it, but the question is DNA, which makes me think like specific contributions that kind of like sculpted the song, and I think Cold Weather, because I wrote the riff intro, that is the intro and outro. Mm-hmm. And I also feel like the bass line I play, especially on the verse, but kind of throughout, is pretty like representative of what I would say my bass style is. So like if I were to say, hey, this is a song that sounds like my part of the band, I think that would be fair. Also, like, it's the short punk song, which at least coming into the band was like my main instinct as a songwriter. So that I think Cold Weather has most of my DNA in it.
Yeah, song has most of my DNA in it.
Yeah.
So the thing I'm going to say is oftentimes Jay will program drums for the demos, and when I hear the songs, like generally for the first time, I hear them with drums that Jay thinks would fit well with the songs. And I either change them because I can't play them, or I change them because I'm like, oh, actually, I have this idea of like, this is how I want to do this. And Jay consistently, like, always says to me, change every single drum part to whatever you want it to be. I just want you to like play what you want as long as it still sounds good. Mm-hmm. And so for the most part, though, a lot of the songs, like, I stick sort of to what Jay envisioned for the songs, and then like I'll add like fills and like certain things here and there. I would probably say Bedroom Community, for me personally, because I changed the drum beat for that.
Yeah, you're the reason it grooves the way it does now.
Yeah, because when we were first writing the groove for that in practice, I just like Jay was having me do 4 on the floor, like a really basic beat for the verses. And then I was like, well, what if I do this instead? Because I was hearing something like with the bass and the drums, and I was like, I think we can really get this grooving. Like, I feel like if I just did this, if you let me do this. So Bedroom Community also, I am the reason that it drops down to just the bass for the like it just does the bass like boom 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 bling 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 because and actually I'm the reason that it goes like that, and I'm the reason that repeats, because I thought it would be cool if that section repeated. But that is the most writing I did on the record, so that's kind of why I feel like
I think that's a good answer.
Bedroom Community. Sure. The one I was thinking of saying was Dallas,
right? Because
Dallas didn't have drums, and then and it was almost completely done. We talked about this in the documentary. It was almost completely done. It didn't have drums. Jay was ready to be like, okay, this one's done. I've finished the song. And they were like, hey, do you want to hear the mix of it? And I was listening to it, and they were just like, oh, actually, you know what? Like, do you think you would want to add drums or anything? And there were previous songs where I was like, nah, I don't need to put drums on that. I'm not like severely egotistical in that sense. I don't need my drumming in every song or anything like that.
I did need my bass in every song. It didn't even happen.
But I just like heard the verses for Dallas, and and then it would get up to like the electronic part with the programmed drums and everything, and I was like, oh, I would like to take that groove from that section, and I feel like it fits underneath, like sort of as like a gesture to like what's to come. And so I talked Jay into letting me just like lay down a really simple like clave groove underneath the verse, and they ended up loving it. And so like, and I even was like, oh, I gave suggestions on the way that the drums would come in on the song and like that kind of thing. So that was the one that I think I had the most input on. But the reason I don't feel like that has my DNA is because I took the groove from the section that Jay had already written. So I was like, I'm just taking this groove and I'm playing it like gesturally earlier. But cool. Thanks for the question. Which was it? That didn't have drums. We basically added it.
You ended up answering.
All right. Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah. One of the songs that Jay almost was like, "Oh, do we want live drums on this?" Where I was like, "No, don't do it." Was Planetarium.
Mm-hmm.
There were early versions of that where I was trying to come up with drum parts for it, and then Jay was just like, actually, I want it to be so complicated that no human being could play it. And I was like, okay, it's fine with me.
That makes sense.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Jonas.
If you were to have to choose any two characters from Hijinks and Handlebars to spend an entire day with, Tig not now.
Not including Tig, right?
No, Tig is a cat and a bastard. We don't want him here. And not on the show.
That is, I would, from the perspective of Shay, or just like my own favorite.
So that does put Shay on the table.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would like to get to know Shay, but I'll spend my life with that character or whatever. Anyways, I'd really like to get to know God, maybe Gertie, because when I was starting out, like, I think that like that was my favorite character, and it fascinated me to like the dynamic of the two Fox siblings, and like Frankie is like the most energetic character out of the whole series, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean to not quite be the highest energy person in the room, but like also be part of that dynamic duo and like be one of the most kick-ass people in Bald, you know? And that was fun to see that kind of unfurl for her. Yeah. And I'm also just a fan of the throuple, so I might just like I would pay to just watch a rom-com about them.
Would you have one of the other two throuple members and just leave the other one in the cold?
Would I split the throuple? I would never do that. Okay, same question, but to you.
Who's your second?
Oh, my second? Did you say pick two?
You're two.
It was Shay and Gertie, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. He's Shay, but maybe
no, not Shay, because I don't get this opportunity many times, so I don't want to waste my wishes.
Yeah, this is only one day for your entire lifetime. That's important.
Baba Vahid is so cool, and I would love to like have him as a grandpa for a day.
Yeah.
And just explore the factory with him.
Hell yeah. I think to toss the question over to me as you had done. I thinking about like not only what individual characters would I want to hang out with, but which like particular two would I want to be in the same room as for like a day. And I thinking about like characters that I feel I might find the most compatibility with. I think Phoebe and Marcus would be a very great 24 hours. I feel like we have some common interests. I feel like they are young enough that I could still relate to them, but old enough that they're not 10. Trouble with personally. I don't know. Kids are cool, but I haven't tested my personal comfort with them in a while. So, but I think Baba Vahid is also like a really hard one to say no to. So I'm gonna say like secondary ans would be Baba Vahid and Taryn. Specifically, I want to see what those two get up to, especially if I'm there. I think that would be fun. What about you, William? You, William White, 24 hours with two people.
It's hard to beat the Foxes, the Marcus and Phoebe.
They're a great duo. They're great people.
Because initially I was thinking I would do Declan and Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think
Phoebe's
that,
so cool.
Yeah, Phoebe, yeah.
They're the perfect parents. Like, they're so good.
I mean, that's kind of their concept, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the reason they exist in the show is because, like, so many times in, like, it or Stranger Things or anything, the adults don't take the kids or the situation as seriously as they should. And so I just wanted parents that, like, no matter how absurd a situation, no matter how, like, out of the realm of possibility it sounded, they were just like, yeah, my kids are saying that's what's going on, so that's what's going on. I
believe them. Yeah. Which is very cool. I mean, it is like it's sort of refreshing in like from like a media perspective, like you were saying. Like, it's not often that the parents are on board with the wacky shenanigans, if that's what it seems like they are that the kids are doing. And it also, like you've mentioned before, like all the parents in the show, for the most part, you try to like exhibit what you believe are like good parenting, just make them like good people who will like listen to their kids in general, which is also really nice. Like, if you've had any frustration with your own or someone else's parents, that's, I think many people have. I don't know. It's cool that you're populating the story with good parents who listen to their children.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had such a hard time with my own parents that, like, I think part of it was, like, also, like, I would like to emulate the parent that I think that I would have liked to have in these parents. So,
yeah. And
hopefully, eventually, if I do have kids, which I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you do, you'll be half as good a parent as you are a parent role player.
Yeah. I'm not like, I'm not like ignorant to the fact that I'm ignorant. But I'd like to hope that I would be able to be as patient and kind and understanding and everything. I don't know. I just like, I'm really, if you get to know me at all, I'm very, very hard on parents. I think
you should watch Lady Bird with them. It's really fun.
Yeah. Lady Bird has a villain.
Oh, man.
But I get really like defensive, and I'm not patient with parents and like everything, because they're like, there's so much harm that you can do to a child, and there's so much like trauma and like negativity that you can bring into a child's world without being really, really careful. And the thing that I always go back to is like, well, we can use Lady Bird as an example. Like, say Lady Bird stops talking to her mom and is like giving her the silent treatment. Is that like childish? Sure, whatever. Is that like traumatic? No, not really. I mean, like, that's just a thing kids do because they're still figuring out how to behave. They're still figuring out like how the world works, and they probably have like a lot of brain stuff going on, especially through like puberty and like that kind of thing.
It's childish because she's a child.
Yeah, it's childish because she's a child. But if you're a parent and you're giving your child, like, no matter how bad a thing your kid did, short of like murder or assault or something, but if you just like have a basic like bratty teen and you can't like find that patience, even if it is extremely frustrating to the point like where you are giving them the silent treatment, that's like, to me, unforgivable. I don't think that, like, because that can do so much harm to your kids, and it means so much more to them than like this other stuff does to you, because you were a kid, you know, that like you yelled like "I hate you" to your parents, like that happens. Or you say like, "Oh, I can't wait to be a parent myself so I can do a better job than you did." Like, you know that kind of stuff happens. You know you did it, like most people at least. So when it gets to the point of like your parenting and like your kid is doing that to you, you just know for the most part it's not personal. They just like they want to rebel, or you're not understanding them and you're not taking the time to. And it's like,
yeah. Also, statistically, it's more likely to be one of the worst things that has ever happened to them than if the same thing happened to you. So
yeah,
there's less things that happened.
that's the direction I want to take this. So if you want to finish up some other stuff,
I wanted to call attention just to, but Chris, if you want to comment on this current conversation, do that first.
I mean, one of the reasons I love this series and I was a fan before I started playing was because I really think that you put thought into the way you communicate a story, how it would affect people watching it. And I really think that you guys are great artists because you respect storytelling and how it can change people's behavior, and knowing that you're very careful about what you're putting out there. Language is important, the way characters act is important, stories we tell affect people in important ways. So yeah, it makes me want to make better stories, and it makes me want to be careful to have language that's inclusive of everybody, and that can kind of affect people to be better people to everybody. So kudos.
Thank you. That was very sweet.
Okay, so I want to point out Space Terrier said I want to see the cat. I know you read that, William, and shook your head. Can I
we can bring the cat in. Yeah.
I want to see my little boy. I want to see.
Here he comes. He's right here.
Come on. Come in a frame. Come on.
He's not going to want to be held for very long.
Oh, my heart. Oh.
This is Tig, named for comedian Tig Notaro. If you don't know her, adjust it.
Yeah.
He's so cute. Come here, Marco. Join the family.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Baby boy.
Come on.
Well, we know why you're here.
Animal time.
Hi.
Oh.
Yeah, it's animal time.
Man.
Oh, there you go.
This made me think of dog. Like, hey, y'all listen to Melee yet? Because it's so good.
Yeah, stream Melee by Dogleg. Out now, anywhere you find your podcasts. Music.
All right, hold on. Settle in. Come on, Tig. Lay down. Lay down. Please. Oh, there you go. Come on.
William, you said you had a direction.
Yeah.
You wanted to go.
Yeah, I want to just... Are you laying down?
Keep thinking about it.
There we go.
Markle's licking my wrist now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. So, yeah. The direction I want to take this. Also, if there's anyone other than Space Terrier still watching So he is very cute. He does love shoulders. He loves to be on shoulders, which is nice because it like settles him down a bit. But oftentimes his claws are too sharp.
Thank you, Chat Queen.
Chat Queen. But if there's anyone other than Space Terrier in the chat, we're here. You can talk to us about anything. Tani Mato, Glass Beach,
Hijinks Handlebars.
Hijinks Handlebars, which is like
Art.
Really here for.
Tabletop live stream from QueueTimes.
Yeah. That said, I would like to now get into a discussion here.
Uh-oh.
How, Chris? Wait a minute.
I saw that too. Yeah.
Question from Chat Queen.
Yeah, what made you choose kids on bikes? Did you have a story in mind that it served to use that system? Okay. The reason I chose Kids on Bikes is because I didn't want to do D&D, and Kids on Bikes had. I knew I wanted to do a live stream. I talked to Jake and talked to QueueTimes about it in general, and. Like a month prior to that, Jake had sent me this Kickstarter link. I was like, check out this game. It's really cool. If you have the means you should donate, it seems pretty tight. Because Stranger Things was super, super popular at that point.
Yeah.
And there was a Kickstarter for Kids on Bikes. And so I donated, and I donated enough to get the PDF and a physical copy of the book. Jake had us over at one point to run to run a one shot for us, and we played it, and it was and it was really, really fun. And oh, this tickles. Okay, it was very fun. And afterwards, I was like, "Oh wow! I want to do either a podcast or a live stream of this." So I got a hold of Jake, and I was like, "I would like this to be my live stream." The live stream that I do, because we had already discussed me doing a live stream. And Jake was like, I think that's a great idea. And we can time it with right when it kind of the game goes public and everybody gets their stuff from the Kickstarter and everything, because the Kickstarter went overwhelmingly good for them. Mm-hmm. So I just loved it immediately. It's really basic, super easy to pick up and play.
There's a lot of room for just doing stuff, which William loves.
Yeah, which
loves to do stuff.
Yeah, I love to do stuff. So that's generally, that's why I ended up choosing that system in the first place. And to answer your other question, did I have a story in mind that served to use the system? Actually, no. I did not. I did not know going in exactly what was going to happen. We sort of sussed that out with the 0 session that we did, which is recorded. So if you want to see that, you can. Mm-hmm. It's in the playlist. Hold on.
Yes, Jake, you did run a Mothman game, and it was terrifying.
It was awesome. I wanted to keep that storyline going.
Yeah.
But but the one thing I knew going in before even the 0 session is the game has a powered character, and it's a character that the entire group has control over. Basically, they can tap the powered character to use certain powers of theirs or whatever, and each player gets a power that they kind of generally have control over, but everybody else can be hey, we should use this power right now. And narratively, for a game just at your home table, that's pretty cool, but narratively I didn't like the idea of all of the characters in the show being the players being stretched to playing another character. I wanted them to focus on just one. So when I was thinking of how I would do the power character, because I wanted to use as many parts of the system as possible, since effectively we were the first Kids on Bikes live stream that existed. Probably.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
We were at least early.
Yeah, we were early.
Yeah.
There might have been. I think there was a podcast before us, but I can't even be sure of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to use a power character. I don't want it to be a character that everyone else has to play or like gets control over or whatever. How can I do this? Da da da. And then it like hit me immediately, and it's a dog. I made it a dog.
Choice ever.
Yeah, which is like the best thing I think I could have done.
It's been wonderful from so many different angles.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great because like I effectively get to play it because I mean, like what?
But we all naturally started over time, like just like saying what BB did, which is great. Like it became, and maybe that's the intention of how it's supposed to be with everyone playing the like powered character. We just kind of like were able to nestle into it pretty well.
Yeah, but playing like a human,
yeah,
would be like there'd be so much more thought, and like so much more people would be like saying stuff in character and yada yada yada, all this stuff. So making an animal, a smart animal, but like something that didn't contribute to conversation and like that kind of thing, except for like a nice like nuzzle here or like a lick,
a bark twice for lasers, that kind of thing.
I thought that it was really effective, and so that was the only like story beat that I kind of had in mind.
Everything else came from like episode 1 and on, because most of William's like storytelling, I think, at least originally, was like reactionary to the choices we were making, the things we were doing, like actually. So like William might have had some ideas, but as far as I know, all the plot like details you didn't have before episode 1, and even most of them didn't come from episode 1. They came like beat by beat, which I think is great. I think it, and that's like probably largely pulling from your improv background of like just clearing your mind, letting yourself have ideas, but letting them go away and just telling the story that needs to be told.
And I'm having like my GM style, especially for, I think it caters to like live stream kind of stuff. But for home games, I've been like really critical of my own style because I'm so like fly by the cuff, like fly by the seat of my pants. I just go and like make everything up. That I get concerned that my players will stop feeling like their decisions matter, or like I play with a couple people who are more strictly like rules oriented or that kind of thing. And for example, if I'm running a D&D game or whatever, a group is like going to bed at night, and then I don't even think about it, but then like they say like I'm gonna like stay up and like do a perception check or whatever to see if anything comes. And then my thought is like, well, if something comes, then they're like, oh, my perception check was valid. I'm glad I did that. But then it's like, well, if something comes every single time, then it's like, oh, is it just stuff is happening because I'm making the perception checks, or am I actually like playing a game where I can where I can prevent us from getting ambushed if I make this perception check or not? So I try to know certain things before they happen. Like even if I get the idea right in the middle of a session, I try to like in my brain come up with enough setup so that I'm like, okay, I have this idea for a thing suddenly based on something that like one of the characters said. And so that means that this, and this can happen. So if they make these rolls and like do these things and investigate these things, they'll be able to uncover or discover like the pieces of this thing that's going on. So I try as rapidly like in session as possible, even though like a lot of the times I am making stuff up on the spot, to make it so that like you can still game the game. Like,
which I appreciate. Because I'm kind of both types of players. Like I think primarily I like being able to just kind of be free to do things, and I love that you make it all feel important in one way or another. But I also, because my primary or my like initial gaming experience was video games, where it pretty much in most games at least is set out before you. I do like the idea of feeling like there is a defined challenge and I have defined tools and I have to be creative in how I make those interact so that I can get the conclusion that I want.
Even though with this, the only conclusion I want is whatever's a good one at the end. But it is nice to feel like I'm playing a game sometimes. Less with kids on bikes. That's kind of the thing. Is like this, which is probably part of why you were drawn to it. Is like this system doesn't encourage as much like specificity in planning. I guess it is more. It works more open-ended, whereas in D&D, like, you have more tools and they have more rules. This has open toolbox that you can never see the bottom of.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it would be different if I was doing a home game, too.
Yeah.
Like, with live streaming, there are certain things that, some certain, like, conceits that you make, because you're doing a show, so you want, like, things to be entertaining. You want there to be, like moments and that kind of thing. Like one thing that's like always been difficult is handling like character death or something like that. I know this is a conversation that like a lot of other tabletop live streamers like talk about.
Should we give a spoiler warning?
No, I'm not going to mention anybody.
Cool.
But just in general, the idea of like character death in a tabletop role-playing live stream, because I've talked to some people who are like, the only way that like they would do it is if they discussed it with their GM beforehand, like literally the session before, and the GM was like, I think I'm like, your character is going to die this episode. How do you want to do it? I want to give you full control over like how that happens. Or people like, if they believe there is going to be a death, or if like a player just doesn't want to play that character anymore and they decided that they want to kill the character off, there's like weeks of planning that goes into that for some people. And then like, I've talked to other people like QueueTimes' very own B. Dave Walters has discussed in the past that like the viscera, like the interest in tabletop live streams, like for some people is that like at any moment a bad roll can kill your character. And he finds that very exciting and it's like interesting to him. And like hopes that even though players oftentimes don't want their characters to die, they understand that that is like a part of the show. And it's like, you are like buying into this conceit that like your roles, like for a tabletop role-playing game, like live stream, your roles should have a direct impact on the way that the story is told. And sometimes that is like to the extreme. And that's why people like this instead of just watching like a narrative improv show, like live stream or podcast or something. Because there's like plenty of shows where like there's like Mission to Zix or whatever, is that like sci-fi show with the Max Fun, like with Max Fun, where they do it's improvised storytelling, and there's merit to that, but there's a reason why people would like this instead of that. And I think a portion of that is because sometimes dice decide the outcome.
Yeah, the random factor is really fun.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know what this was in response to, Space Terrier. Tabletops are a good creative outlet in that way, but that kind of applies to everything that William was saying. So I'm going to assume that you just sent it after every single sentence until it went through. So yeah, you also said I always say improv skills are the most important thing a DM can have. I completely agree. I mean, I think improv skills and like specifically listening to your players' choices, which is also the most important improv skill. So like, pop. Yeah. Okay. Did you
cranking that shit?
I can pivot. What are you doing? The McElroy joke right now?
Yeah.
I love that joke so much.
Oh,
it's really... so. I mean, like, I don't want to. I almost want Justin to keep it down. I love them.
Those boys, don't you?
Yeah.
I love those boys, don't you? Monster Factory.
Monster Factory. I can't quite get into that one as much as their other.
Bra moment over here.
I actually agree. I like Monster Factory, but I have a harder time getting into it.
Well, the new one's really good, so watch it.
So watch it. Chug, chug, chug. Chug, 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 chug. Well, okay, so, Chris.
Yes.
As someone who has been like generally in the space of like online and like having people kind of know who you are for a few years now.
Yeah.
How do you find navigating that space And do you feel like it has like positively or negatively or like kind of a wash like affected your life?
I have a lot of answers to that because I think a lot of it is fun, but I don't think human brains were meant to like handle this sort of interaction, and especially performing to a large scale of people. I saw a lot of ways where it can like kind of fuck up your brain a little bit. Do I like the attention? I mean, I do. I just know that it's I think the phrase like chasing the dragon comes to mind, right? Where or like the hedonic treadmill, right? Where you get just an extraordinary amount of joy out of something all at once, and it's amazing, and it's the best thing you've ever felt. But your body, because happiness is like brain chemistry, your body acclimates to that, and you just have to keep chasing something greater than before. I think that's where a lot of the pitfalls of that like high come from. Also, I've seen like unhealthy fan interactions where a lot of people still don't know parasocial relationships, where one person feels like they actually know somebody, and then the person on the other end of the screen, because they're performing and they can't know everybody, they don't know who you are. And that leads to a lot of unhealthy relationships. I've been mindful of a lot of things lately that can be unhealthy when you're a performer online with a notable audience. And I bet you're running into those too now, right?
A little bit, yeah. I think on a lesser scale than you've been privy to, just because we're still like, I think more than anything, the person who would have gotten the most was Jay, but Jay was offline for a long time and only recently like logged back in. And they deliberately like took that step because they were feeling like their relationship with social media and like interacting with people on there was unhealthy. And so they put space between them and that. I'm not going to say that I'm like completely healthy with like social media and everything. I spend a lot more time on Twitter than I used to. But I don't necessarily think that's a problem. The problem is I keep reading a bunch of really bad stuff because I'm just like, I like search out the negative stuff. And it's like so easy to find, especially now because of like the elections and because of the coronavirus and because of like, it does feel like there is like so much for people to be worried about or negative about that. I just like, there's plenty for me to latch onto. But my DMs are open on Twitter. And I check my message requests pretty much every day because I mean, like, I don't get a ton of people like trying to get a hold of me right now. And I also have tried to be like very deliberate about like explaining like, I can do this for now. And like, but sometime in the future, I probably won't be able to anymore. Like, depending on how good things go for us.
Yeah.
But I've had people like message. I like most recently, I've had like a couple of people just like reach out to say like, "Hey, love the band, like, really cool." I get a little worried when people are like, "It's really cool that you actually interact with your fans," because I'm like that shouldn't be, to me. That shouldn't be like it's fine if artists don't interact with fans personally. Like that's like something that I believe because this has been a thing for actors for a really long time or performers in general. You want to act. You're an actor. You're not a publicist. You're not like you are like how they have actors when they're done filming the movie. They're only halfway done with the movie because then they also have like 6 months to a year of like going out and doing a bunch of interviews and stuff. to actually like promote the movie and like that kind of thing. Whereas like so many actors are horrible at that, like because they're either like socially anxious or they like actually just like have anxiety and they don't like being like face to face with people in situations like that. Whereas like acting can be an escape for them because they're not like using their own words. They're not like in those social situations. They are acting. It is like a different art form. So for so long, I mean, like YouTubers and Vine stars and Instagram people and all this stuff, and now much like actors have had to be content creators, publicists, and also like, I mean, social media managers and like taking on all of these roles. And because of the ease of access to these like stars, as opposed to like an Elijah Wood or something who is still like kind of inaccessible, because it's like sort of a lower tiered like star kind of quality. I think like dangerously people have now started to pivot the direction of, okay, I have access to you, so I am owed access to you.
Space Terrier mentioning how easy people can like reach out to you on Twitter. Her getting messages because people are curious about animation. It is so easy for it to go from something that is really nice and like it makes a sense of community, and that's great. But you twist the dial a little bit too far, it could be like harassment, entitlement to a performer or a content creator's attention. That's really stressful stuff.
Well, I mean, like, I think about Glass Beach in the future. We are almost certainly going to get people somewhere down the line that are like, gosh, remember when they used to like actually talk to their fans? Like what Jake said, like QueueTimes said in the chat, like it isn't something you can sustain over time. Like, and the thing is like eventually it's going to get to the point where like right now I can name search Glass Beach Band, like all that shit every day and like never be overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's manageable.
It's like manageable. It's easy. Like especially lately, there's not like a whole ton of people talking about us. But even when we have like a release or like when the documentary came out, that was like 2 full days of like me being like on Twitter to like help promote that kind of thing, and like seeing everybody's reactions to it, which was great. But I still wasn't overwhelmed. I was able to keep up with everybody posting about it. That's not going to be the case.
Yeah, hopefully
that won't be the case.
At some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, like for me, because I'm always going to want to like interact with and communicate with fans as much as possible. It's just a matter of like, at some point, we're not going to be able to interact with everybody, which is going to make like the people who we don't get to feel bad. And it's, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I know that because I've always enjoyed on the fan side having like some sort of like communication, even if it is like just the creator speaking to the general audience. It's nice because I usually follow somebody's work because I also like them as a person to some degree. I don't know. We're still like everybody who's trying to do this, I think, is still figuring it out because it's still like a pretty new form of performance. I think this like hyper online stuff, but I think something that William's making a point to do is very important, which is to be open about where you stand on that and what you're comfortable with, and like be open about what expectations you're comfortable with, and updating that stuff.
I honestly think a part of it is that like with social media, it has made it seem easier for everyone to be creators. And I think that a majority of people who are online are creators of some sort. So I think part of it, and I mean, this is kind of like, I think part of it is like, if I get them to know me, or if I get like this person who is like more popular than me to like recognize me, see my name and be like, oh, it's that person. Maybe they'll check out my stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'll get a little bit of the sunlight that they're catching, right?
Yeah, maybe this will be my gateway into like a broader audience or like that kind of thing. Because I know, I mean, someone recently like reached out to me to ask me a couple questions about the band, and then like ended that conversation by saying like, oh, by the way, like I have a stream tomorrow at like this time if you want to check it out. And I'm like, I'm fine with that. Like I think that's like, shoot your shot. Yeah, I mean, don't do that to like everybody, because like that can be like really spammy, and like, and that also puts like a lot of pressure on the person you're sending that to. As long as you know you're doing that and you don't need
I don't know about that. Yeah, but
if you're doing that, and like you're like, the way that you're perceiving it is, I don't need them to actually respond to this. Like I'm not going to get upset if they don't come watch my stream. I'm not going to get upset if they don't check out my stuff. I think that's fine. It would be great if you could get that across. Like if you could say like, oh, I have a stream tomorrow, and by the way, like I understand that you're like, you have no like, there's no like reason for you to like have to do this, and it's like, it's cool. Just like, I just, I have this thing going on. Whatever. But it's like, it's hard to get that across. So like, maybe just like don't do it unless you know the person. But at the same time, I've kind of done that, and it's worked out really well for me.
Oh my God, has it?
Do a couple of messages in the chat. Space Terrier said that this is like a huge thing in animation, bringing up the person with the Steven Universe board artist who got like run off Twitter, which I think I remember hearing about when that happened, and that sucks. I
love that. I feel lucky to not work on a show that fans put that much emotion into.
Which, knowing the show that you work on, which I'll let you say if you want to, that's very funny.
I have a feeling people care a lot very recently about the show you work on, Space Terrier, especially the speedrunning community. But
wait, what?
Oh, do you not know about Space Terrier? Is this? You should mention what show you work on.
Wait,
I know what show.
I do too.
I know what show Space Terrier works on.
So have you watched American Dad speedrunning videos?
No. What?
So good. So there is this subculture of people that they ape the language that speedrunners use to say that they're speedrunning the opening theme to American Dad, and so they'll edit the animated intro in ways that like evoke like Super Mario 64 speedruns or whatever.
Yeah,
but like he clips through the wall. And they need to get to the end of the intro as fast as possible. It is so great. Oh.
That is funny.
Yes. Space Terrier also said, when we were talking about the like, just sort of at the end of that conversation, maybe Mr. Talent will rub his tentacles on my art, which I think is a very funny way to say that.
And then QueueTimes said, hey, William, I have a stream on Friday. I'm going to be playing Animal Crossing. You should check it out.
Yeah, check out QueueTimes on Friday. They do Filthy Casual Fridays, where it's usually gaming of some kind, including ghouls and goblins.
Who's the QueueTimes? Who's the guest this week? Do you know?
If you don't have one yet, I'm also going to be playing Animal Crossing, hopefully. So
my wife watches it.
Space Terrier. Part of it was to explain speedrunning to our middle-aged line producer. She was so baffled.
Oh, man.
Oh no, guess we're all remote. Okay, Jake, if I am in fact playing Animal Crossing on Friday, which I will be if it arrives in time, can I visit your town while you're streaming or something, and like Discord it up, figure something else out there? Because we'll talk about it.
Glass Beach question.
The cat's on my pizza.
Glass Beach question. Hell yeah, I can get on Discord with Jake. I win, everybody. Rocket Bobsled says, Glass Beach question. When songwriting, do you have to balance the intuition and intuition, and is that improvising jam session style of making songs versus
like improving?
Improving. I was reading improving. And improving jam session style of making songs versus the song theory methodology way of writing? Kind of. We definitely do both. Because usually Jay will like have a basis for a song, and we'll listen to it and maybe give some just like in our brain ideas based on the demo, but we will always come up with new stuff from playing it. Yeah. Except for like some of the songs on that album.
I would say we probably don't improvise nearly as much as you might think we do. I think that writing is like 90%, and then like there's 5% of like sort of remixing as like a band,
Mm-hmm.
and then 5% improv.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, well, that's probably closer to like 10 because there's some that comes from practice, some that comes from recording. Because like the individual parts change when we're recording.
That's what I mean
But-
about like the remixing though, because they don't. It's not like we're jamming and we come up with something and we're like, oh, it's like
Sure.
it's almost never that.
At least not from what was on the first album.
On the
There was
first
like half
record,
the songs I would say that was part of the writing, but
Yeah.
half of them it wasn't at all.
It's moreover just Jay will have almost completed songs, or at least completed sections of songs, bring them to band practice, or send us demos. And you want up? You come up?
Come up. Oh, she wants out.
Okay. But set us Tig. Let Tig out too.
Go, cat, go.
Goodbye, dog and cat.
Bye. Anyway, Jay will bring us sections for like demos of sections and that kind of thing, and like we'll either respond to the demos by being like, oh, this is really cool, or like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm thinking of like this section or like whatever, but that's like never improv. It's always like, oh, let's try this, and it's basing it off of this like pre-written section. Whereas like I think that's why I say 5%, because I think like very slim, like tiny amounts of, for the first record at least, were actually us like jamming or like coming up with something on the spot, and like like Jay's solo in Bedroom Community, the piano solo is meticulously written, and so is your bass.
As far as what ends up on the album, most of my bass parts are. I have a feeling, based on how the writing has started going for the second album so far, that there's going to be a lot more of all of us and stuff we find in practice on every song on that album. Maybe there'll be a couple where it's not, but we've been tending towards, because we're going from the ground up. Like when we met Jay, they already had like a quarter of what's on the album written at least. For this one, there was nothing before the band, other than maybe some melodies. So I have a feeling the next album will be more like coming from our instincts, I guess, than just our like thoughts, and specifically like Jay's thoughts planned out.
Yeah, I mean, like
yes, QueueTimes. There will be a second album. We're actually signed on for 3 more.
Yeah, 3 more albums.
Canonized. That is shareable knowledge.
Yeah, actually, I mean, like the newest song we're working on right now, which you probably won't hear for like 3 years.
Who knows?
Who knows? But Patreon. But the newest song we're working on right now, I can tell you outright, there's like one small part of that is the way that it is because I screwed up playing it in practice, and then Jay was like, "Oh, we should do that."
Yep. Which, like, I love that kind of stuff, because I mean, sometimes the wrong idea is only wrong because you haven't done it yet.
It's true.
Because you haven't done it with confidence.
Yep.
Be confidently wrong.
Yeah.
That's how you make music.
I agree.
Well, I would say we're getting to a point where we could get towards wrapping up. I mean, I think if there's other stuff we want to talk about, we should. But I feel like we've said a good amount. Please, if you are here in the chat, ask us any questions you have lingering about anything. I don't know, Chris, do you have any like questions for us regarding hijinks and stuff, or handlebars?
Jonas,
What's up?
what are you excited about, or what are you working on with this going forward with Handlebars?
That's a good question, Chris. Thank you. I'm excited to hopefully spend more time. I think we've set up to it. This is pretty inevitable. Kind of like expanding on mom strength and like what specifically that looks like, which has been really hard because we set up that there is a band that is like a relatively important part of like the content of the show, but in a format or like in a medium where without like extra work we can't really like show what that sounds like we haven't on stream heard what Mom Strength is like, other than the description of basically the lineup and kind of like the energy. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what ways we find to kind of flesh that out without necessarily hitting play on a recording of the music, because I don't play horns. So I can't really like. I was messing around for a while when I had my laptop that is dead now, with like just in like a digital audio workstation, doing like Mom Strength demos, just using like sound fonts of saxophones and drums. But I mean, I don't have access to that computer and those files anymore. And also, I never got it yet to a point where I was like comfortable with it. But my hope, if I can make it work, is that before the series is done, I will release and like play it to some degree on stream a Mom Strength demo or some demos of some kind. And regardless of if we hear it or not, I am excited to just spend more time with that band and kind of flesh out what its role in the world and the story is, I think.
Jake says a Mom Strength music video.
Yes.
Very cool. Though it would almost see, that's hard because it would have to either not feature Teddy and Derry, I think, or be animated.
Yeah.
And I'd be leaning towards the former because, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, you probably don't know this, Chris, but animation takes a long time and a lot of work. And yeah, I mean, that would be cool. That would definitely be cool. And maybe something to work towards. I also think we could justify a live action music video of some kind that doesn't feature the characters and maybe not even the cast, or features the cast of other people. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to work out how Sam and I would play children who aren't white. I just don't see a good way to do that. So,
no.
Yeah.
I could think of a music video made by Derry that doesn't include Derry.
Yeah, we have William playing Marcus and Phoebe. They're the stars of the video.
Yeah.
Space Terror, have you heard of Bombarded? I'm thinking of Library Bards. Bombarded does sound familiar, though. I think so. I just cannot not place why.
Yeah, Bombarded. Have I heard of that?
Bombarded. Yeah, I don't know.
Just have fake playing backlit.
Just have.
You know what? I'm sure that would go very well.
Just have fake.
Do you mean?
Wait.
Do you mean having Jonas and Sam?
Oh, like
silhouetted or something.
Just silhouettes. We're on every episode based on roles.
Bombarded. I knew it was a bard thing. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Terrifying.
I think one of the people was on the Greetings Adventures podcast. I think actually.
Okay.
As like a guest.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Wow.
They'll play bard life. That's awesome. That is very cool. I have not heard it, but it definitely is a name that has like hit me because of the other stuff I listen to.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I want to say, if you have any last questions or anything like that, we'll ask for last questions right now, and then we can start wrapping.
Sorry, how did that work? You rolled a 1. You played a kazoo. Crit fail.
But yeah. So if you have any like final questions or anything that you want to talk to us about or whatever, we're gonna start wrapping up now. What was I about to say? Oh yeah. So some things I just wanted to say, some stuff that Glass Beach are thinking about doing with our Twitch channel. Because like Lane and like Jonas and stuff want to do gaming streams, just like impromptu gaming streams, that kind of thing. Like I know Lane wants to stream. What was it? Was that
Dark Souls?
Was it Dark Souls?
I mean, Lane does want to stream Dark Souls, I think.
Yeah, I thought he wanted to stream that one with the samurai. That was also...
Oh, Sekiro?
Yeah.
He definitely wants to stream Sekiro and Bloodborne. I mean, all those games.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of
which I think that would be very cool, because Lane's a big fan of like the live stream gaming community and everything.
Was that Markle?
Yeah, I think so. Just like running into the door.
Yeah. Hop up.
Search is messed because when I Google bombarded, all I get is bombarded.
Bombarded with Xander. Okay, with Xander and Bonnie. That's what I was thinking of at first.
That's what I was thinking,
also okay. So yeah.
Final question: what would a big budget stadium-sized Glass Beach show look like?
Fortnite.
That's a really good Fortnite. That's a really good question.
We would play Fortnite.
I will say so. We've talked about. I mean, that is one thing that I hope to take a lead on when we like can justify a like live production budget and like have some sort of like stage show. Because William and I went to school for theater, to college for theater, and I like specifically was focused on directing. I mean, that was kind of like a career path I was towards, was like directing theater. So I would love to like bridge that, and so I've had like thoughts about it. One thing that it would look like that I can point to like a piece of media that I would absolutely pull from is Stop Making Sense.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Stop Making Sense, it's the Talking Heads concert movie from the 80s. I don't remember when exactly. But it is very cool. It is like a lot of just like moving parts, and it is like not distracting from the music, but builds around it, and it's just like really cool and goes along with a really good concert movie. The footage is really good too.
Classic Jay in
a big suit, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So there would I would pull from that and possibly even reference it. I also definitely, it would have like a lot of projections. Projections are actually probably the next thing we're going to incorporate into our live shows, even at like smaller venues.
Yeah, I think like large scale, if we were to do like some sort of a stadium, like if it was a stadium and it was like if it was stadium and it was all the way around, or if it was stadium facing one way, I would personally love that. So Orpheum or something? No, the World Theatre in London.
The Globe
or something. I don't know. Yeah, it might have been the Globe
with the pit.
Maybe somebody did a version of Sunday in the Park with George where they had a projection psych.
Yeah, that wasn't the Globe.
Okay,
there's no way that was the Globe. I don't think, but
somebody they did Sunday in the Park with George. It had a psych that was like basically it's like it's like a 3/4 like rounded curtain wall behind everyone, and then you project on it from behind, so you don't get like light bleed or anything, but it's just like these images like just start appearing of like really, really technical, like cool stuff you can do with that. And I know I personally would like love to perform.
Yeah, I would love that
with like a projected psych.
Well, and psychs are also cool because you can project, but you can also just like light them from below with different colors that can have really cool effects. So a psych would be involved. I would incorporate props. If you've seen Chris Farron's recent live shows by any chance, that is sort of an aesthetic I like a lot. If you've seen Anna Managuchi's like sort of like cut out digital like projection or LED like screens that they have on their current tour, that stuff's really cool to me. But yeah, it is kind of hard to say exactly what it would look like, but those are all elements that I'd want to pull from for sure.
Is the Glass Beach website getting an update soon? Probably not. It's gonna look that way forever.
I mean, at least for like a while, for a long time. We don't have any plans to change the design of it, though it will be updated to include our merch store pretty soon. Yeah. And we did a tweet about that yesterday, and we're currently in the talks.
No, you mean the ARG?
Oh, the ARG. We should talk to Jay about producing some DLC for that. That should be one of the Patreon goals. Yeah, like we get a certain amount of money, we unlock DLC for everybody for the Glass Beach ARG. If you haven't played it, go explore glassbeach.band for a while. You will know when you're in the game.
I just found it for the first time.
I did not know there was an ARG. That's amazing. I got to get out of here. I got to go on glassbeach.band.
I was showing the website to a friend of mine because we were putting together a website for our own separate business thing. And they were just like, oh, you have a website. Like, can I see that? I was like, oh gosh, we shouldn't make a website like this, but I will show you the website. And I was showing it to them, and I went down and I saw these I'm not gonna say it too much, but I was like, oh, I never noticed that before. So I clicked on it, and then I was like, oh my god.
Oh man.
I stumbled upon. I will pay. Thank you, Space Terror. I stumbled onto some wild
Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Godspeed You Black Emperor remix. That's all I remember from it.
I'm not surprised. I don't think I found that, but I am not surprised. There's an American Dad reference somewhere, according to Space Terrier. I also don't remember that, but I believe you 100%. 200 even. 300.
I went to like Polar Bear Island.
Yeah?
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's
so
weird.
This is so weird.
Okay, I have one final question for both of you, and for anyone in the chat who wants to sound off and has an answer. What are you going to name your island in Animal Crossing?
Can you let my cat in?
Yeah, sure.
He is like, come in. Come in. Come here.
Come on. No, Marco, you're good. Okay, bye.
Okay. Come back. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Answer the question.
Yeah, I'll let you finish because I don't think this is fair. I don't think I'm gonna get Animal Crossing. Like,
I'm not gonna get it either.
Yeah, I didn't think so. QueueTimes Island. That'll fit, won't it? Yeah, QueueTimes will fit.
prepare the booing, I guess. But I just get kind of stressed out because it's kind of the debt aspect and the chore aspect make me feel anxious most of the time. So,
Word.
sorry.
That's okay. But what would you name your island?
Gosh. Nami's Garden. How about that?
Nami's Garden, cute.
That is cute. I guess if I was gonna have one, I would be hard pressed not to name it Glass Beach. I think.
Mm-hmm. Which fits if there's no space. So, yeah, I also have thought about Glass Beach. Wife doesn't know yet, Clanwells. That's okay. She has a few days. My wife. I'm gonna name my island my wife. My wife island. I thought about naming it something like this. Wait, that doesn't. Okay, I wanted to do something where it's like something that ends in is land. But what I put in front of island is up until the is, but that wouldn't work. Like this land is I's land. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna name it Yoshi's. It'll be Yoshi's Island.
Penn Island. I've seen that.
Yeah, Penn Island. Dogleg Island is good.
Can I use the template creator to put up flyers for punk shows on my island?
I think so.
Ah.
I believe you can. It seems pretty robust this time around.
Island will be a hypothetical Estonian breakaway. Hold on. Breakaway nation called Bestonian. Mine will be Worstonian. Yeah, I don't have much else after that. I mean, I don't play games really. Corvid's Island? Is that what
Corvid's Island? Or Cock
COC?
Island? Good. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
QueueTimes.
yeah. Great job, QueueTimes.
Good job making a cock joke.
Very mature.
I would name my island Tanamato. The Mother 3 Island, which had a name I don't remember because I haven't played that game.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't play games for the most part. I don't play
Except Fortnite.
I like playing Fortnite. Best thing is I did not think about Court of Corvids would be shortened to COS to cock.
I'm sure I said something to you.
Map is a square island too. You know what to do.
You suggest me recreate it in Animal Crossing because that's wonderful. If Remy dies, we riot. Yeah.
Oh, good. We have a Court of Corvids fan. In the yeah, you did, but it was too late. Oh, Remy's not dead. We're fine. Everything's fine. You know, actually, the coronavirus is like stalling that. So
yeah.
So good for us. No, Tig.
Yeah.
Tig, no.
Tig, yes.
Tig is trying to destroy our setup.
Well, maybe he's got the right idea. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else that we want to go over?
No, I think I'm good. I think we've about done all we can. Things are kind of
they're gonna be weird.
Things are gonna be weird for a little while.
For us and for just the world. I'm sure you know that already, but we will acknowledge it because we're in it too. And we'll all get through it at the end of it. Which hopefully is soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with us. Not especially with QueueTimes. This is going to be a.
We were already going through a lot of changes.
Yeah, they're already going through a lot of changes. It's going to be this is going to be rough for like I think a lot of people and in the tabletop like live stream community. You would think like what Chris said earlier that entertainment would be thriving right now, but I just think I think people are just stressed.
Yeah.
I don't think they're. I don't think they are like. I think for some people it's even like, how could I possibly distract myself with this, with all of this other stuff going on in the world? So, hopefully things end up being all right for the most part. I don't really trust a lot of the people taking care of everything, but the most we can do is remember self-quarantine. Don't go outside. I don't care if you think it's like an overreaction, just like don't go outside for me, please. Don't go out and do things unless you have to. If you have a job that you can do from home, do that. Yeah. The issue isn't that people don't want to watch it. The issue is that we can't be around each other. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Thankfully we have online. We have online. So
okay,
follow us online at Handlestream.
Yeah, you can follow the show at Handlestream. Again, like last thing here, this is technically a Hijinks and Handlebars live stream. Every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, we do a Kids on Bikes actual play live stream. It's a continuous campaign. You can find all the previous episodes in the playlist Hijinks and Handlebars on QueueTimes' main YouTube channel. You can also find that playlist with bit.ly/handlestream, capital H, capital S. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Handlestream. I think the Instagram's quiet right now because we had a player, a member of the cast who used to run that, who is no longer in the cast because they moved away. So hopefully one wants to get back to that at some point. Whatever. Follow the Twitter. Who knows? Follow my Twitter and Instagram at kwilliamwhite. Talk to me about Glass Beach. Talk to me about this show. Talk to me about Court of Corbids. Hit me up. My DMs are open, but don't expect to be best friends with me.
That's my job.
That's Jonas's job. So we'll just be chill, and I'd love to hear from you.
Find me on the internet at Jonas Newhouse. Call me Boss Dog. I do all the same things as William for the most part, so I tweet about them. Maybe my dog a little more often than they do, though not exclusively.
And you can find me, Chris, on the internet at Tanimato. I do animation stuffs and music.
Yeah. Bad news, everyone. I couldn't see where my cat was. And
he got under the bed.
And then I realized he's under my bed.
You can find Franny on Twitter at _Franny. K, just _Franny, then the letter K. You can find Sam, our other cast member, at Laggardson, LAGGARDSON. And QueueTimes, the network, is on Twitter at _QueueTimes. We're going to get that cat out. See you next week.
I'm going to get the cat out from under my bed.
Bye everybody.
Bye. Good night.